First item on the agenda is meeting minutes from September 27th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Foster. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Any special requests or continuances? No. Okay. All right. Seeing none, move to findings of fact. BZA 2021-010.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2021-010.
Motion by Mrs. Peters, second by Mr. King. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. BZA 2021-019.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2021-019.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Foster. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. BZA 2021-020.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2021-020.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Peters, second by Mr. Foster. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. 5-0. BZA 2021-017.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2021-017.
Second. Motion by Mr. Fuller, second by Mr. Foster. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. And BZA 2021-018.
Chairman, in consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2021-018.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Peters, second by Mr. King. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Any old business, no old business on the agenda. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none. There's no new business. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none. Any announcements?
We will be having our next meeting. No other announcements.
Okay. John?
No other
I
announcements.
actually have just a couple quick things.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Okay. One, just we have a new member, Mr. King, who's we had with everything going on last time. I just started thinking about with the board of zoning. It's just basically we're a quasi judicial board. So one of the things I want to remind everybody on the board is when we do talk after the public hearing, we're asked questions and comments. We can tie those back to the criteria and how we feel they do or don't apply. That probably will be very helpful to have in the record. So just keep that in mind as you ask questions and make comments. And then the other thing, Dale, this is maybe more for you. That was a really lengthy meeting.
Agreed.
That pushed, obviously planning commission behind, and we had a lot of folks here for that. So I don't know if we can maybe make a rule or maybe not a hard fact, but try to limit to no more than 3, or some of those had multiple sections within the request. So if we could keep it to like 3 sections on an agenda night, I would recommend we do that. And I know folks may need to wait a couple weeks, but that's probably better for them than having to be rushed at the end.
Completely agree. Sean and I, as well as the deputy mayor and myself, had the same discussion, and we will try and balance the agenda more on the content and the discussion. If it's a lot of questions about signs, we might be able to fit a few more on in a given night, but if it's some more meaty topics like we had that night, we'll split them up.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Fuller?
I know in the plan commission, we're going to have some discussion about virtual meetings. Is that a problem with this board that we're going to discuss, or will it? How does, we can still do virtual meetings on this board?
You can, any body can adopt an electronic meeting policy if that's what the board or commission or entity would like to do. You can't allow more than half the meetings,
Right.
somebody to attend electronically. Currently, we're still under the public health emergency, so under the state law, you could all meet virtually if you wanted to.
Okay.
You have to come in person, but if you want a policy for you, it's a hearing. I don't know how you all feel comfortable about that. If you think,
Right.
it's still practical to do by Zoom.
It's just by, for occasionally something comes up where you can't be here, but you might be able to, like being out of town, but you can still get on virtually. And that way you don't run into the problem of only having two.
Well, if we consider all that, should we have some kind of caveat that maybe at least one member be here to conduct?
Well, I
The board,
believe if you're
the
going to
hearing.
have an electronic meeting policy, there are parameters within which you must work. At least a quorum of you has to be present.
Okay.
So if you're going to allow people to participate electronically, 3 of you would have to be
Okay.
there at least in person.
That makes sense to me. I mean, if that's, those are the guidelines now, right?
Well, the state law, no. While you're under some sign of a health emergency, you could all remotely participate.
But once.
But once there is no declared public emergency by either like the mayor or the governor, you would have to have a policy that you're following. And there
I see.
are, again, limits.
And so what do we need to do at any point then to make that policy?
If you would like to adopt a policy, the Common Council has adopted one. And we send it to the planning commission member so they can see what the council is doing. And that's very comparable because they're both 9-member bodies. You are not, but you might like, hey, we like that rule that you're allowed to miss this many meetings and like some of the other things that are in there. So
Yep.
we can certainly send that to you and you can see it and you can think about it if you'd like to consider adopting an electronic meeting policy.
And the only reason I bring it up is the discussion we're having for the meeting on the 22nd of November. There may be, it's a holiday week and people need to travel. Right.
But we can certainly get that around to you and we can discuss it at our next meeting. Like I said, there's only one item on the agenda next time, so we could discuss it.
No, that makes
That'd be a
sense.
good idea.
That'd be great.
All right.
All right, anything else, anyone?
Nope.
Seeing none, motion for adjournment?
So move.
Motion.
So.
BZA adjourned.